So, being a human transmutational device or entity or energy means that you can process through energy, through emotion, through our emotional bodies. And you can even go back to memories where you've experienced trauma and wounding and go back to it in a conscious state and an awareness, and sit with the version of you that got hurt, and be there in the way that you needed in that moment, whenever you got traumatized, to heal that trauma. You can do that. You can go back and you transmute that energy, even through your mind. We're that strong that we can go back in our memories and we can heal them through our conscious effort. And then two, a way to do this is, how when you listen to nostalgic songs that bring up memories for you, and that can make you feel really, deep emotions that make you cry even, I have tons of them. If you consciously listen, if you listen to those songs, even if you listen to them, but as long as you honor the emotion that you had at that time, during that time, and why you had it, and acknowledge it, you can go through and heal and transmute that energy with that song, with the help of that song. And you can call in your spirit guides and everything too. Like I'm Syrian, I have Syrian in me, Orion in me, and there's some musical, and seraphim in me, and we all do. We all really do. But it's like music, like movies and music. Spirit's always been talking to me. That, like, spirit talks to us throughout in our environment all the time. Which just we have to become aware and conscious of how. And we've been conditioned and manipulated not to be conscious and aware in that way, to experience God and His expression through us, with us, as us, for us, with us, all the conjunctions type deal. But if you're brave enough to listen to songs, listen to music that has some sort of, has some sort of deep emotion that's tied to it, that stirs up that emotion. If you listen to it and you honor yourself in that moment, authentically, raw, just like everything that comes up, and then even go deeper, analyze it, introspect it, be like, what, make sure that, like, that you process it all the way, and that you don't get angry and then you cry in anger. That doesn't help. Anger shuts it down again. You have to cry and just get through it and honor it, and then be glad that you did, for whatever happened in that moment, whatever traumatic experience that you had, whatever hurt that you experienced, that you even were able to go back to it and you can feel it. Just honor it, and that you felt it in the first place, and that it was that strong, and that you cared in that way. But don't let it own you by being angry about it, because that only keeps you stuck where you are. It won't help you move forward. It doesn't help you move on, expand, grow in any way. You have to honor it and then let it go. You just let it, you honor it for what it is. And you might you can get angry too in that moment, as long as you let that anger go. You acknowledge it and understand why you have it. Like, we have to, that's why I just made a video about acceptance. And acceptance is accepting anger too. Like, this is one of the lessons that I had to learn too, and that's part of that spiritual ego that has been coming, like, subtly being shown to me in all the ways that I've had spiritual ego and pride and ego, and which creates anger and creates blockages to the thing that I want. Because that's what we are. Like I said, we've been conditioned and manipulated to be that way, to create the same problem for ourselves of the thing that we actually want, by creating a fear or resistance to it, is what we do. And so it makes it unattainable. We, like, just keep creating the same situation that makes it so it doesn't happen, by thinking that, it's going to happen that way. Anyway. But try it. Sorry, try and honor your emotions in that way. Like I said, you can, accepting that you're angry is just as important. Like, that's one thing that I've had to learn. Like I said, lately, is accepting that I can be prideful. I'm not perfect, and I got to stop thinking that I need to be in some way. That's ego, and that's a lie, and it doesn't help, and it's not true. You know what I mean? It doesn't help, and it's not true. Because acceptance of all of you in all ways, because any other way is ignoring yourself, and that only creates a problem. That only creates more problems for yourself when you ignore and avoid. Same with me. That's what I mean. That's with spiritual ego and pride and ego issues. Arrogance is hard to distinguish, and because we attach onto something, but it makes us so we're blind to other things. Okay, the same with spiritual ego too. We're like, I know what I know, and blah blah, and you don't even realize you're doing it. You can be so humble in so many ways and still have spiritual ego that's making you attached and feel like you're. But it could be, like, for me, it was a defense mechanism. Like, now I have to let go of the same thing that saved me. in a lot of ways saved me in the situation that I was in, was being able to be spiritual, but I latched onto it too much, and God's like, no, can't do that, gotta let it go. Gotta let everything go. And it's true though, acceptance. And accept though every part of you. That's what honoring our shadow and our light is a good honor. It's integrating both and being proud of both, and knowing and acknowledging both, and then choosing it for light, choosing it in a whole capacity, in an integrated capacity, instead of just choosing shadow or just choosing light. You choose both, and you're like, yep, I'm a fuck up, and I'm cool. I'm a cool fuck up. I know, and it's not like that, but I mean, like, you are for how deep you can go and profound you can go in a negative way, in a shadow way, you can go just as much in the light way. So being able to bring them back together, it makes it so powerful and so strong. We are so strong if we do this, and that's why I'm doing it. And that's like my full-time thing, is just what I've been doing. What like I said, I went off like a couple of years ago, and it was because another soul came that got killed through energy harvesting and destiny swapping, came to me. It was like, wake up. And I was like, oh. And I was doing drugs. I was an addict at the time. Like, I was going down. I was being destiny swapped too as well, though. So like, unaliving spells, as they say, red rumming spell, and it doesn't take it away from what actually is. You know what I mean? It still is, and that's how cool God is that you get. It's so, there's such a thin line between genius and insanity, and you have to respect that. You really do. That's what I mean. And that's owning both and being like, yeah, I'm both. And it's hard. You got to like keep that balance. Just like, I constantly put myself in check. I ask, like, I really have to, I always keep, and I'm honest with myself, because I don't want to get out of balance and out of alignment. And I know what that can mean. You know what I mean? So I constantly check myself, and I was being very prideful and ego, and it was having energetic manipulation, but I'm also healing at the same time. And that's how energetic manipulation can come through. But I can't blame, and I don't want to blame, because the victim mindset doesn't do shit in any beneficial way for me. And so, it doesn't. Taking a victim mindset doesn't help in any way at all. And so, like, I don't agree with doing it for myself. Like, and there we go again. That's the thin line. It's either pride or victim. That's what we'll take. We'll take pride, like we're all that, and then if it's not that, then it's like, well, you made me that way, and it's like we need to be accountability in the middle. Accountability, responsibility, and truth and honesty and genuineness, and and raw and truthful, and to oneself, though, integrity, dignity. That's shit. Anyway, a thin line of, between there's a thin line between all of it, and you just got to be honest about it and accountable to yourself about it, and to others if you've done wrong, but like mainly to yourself. You have to be honest with yourself at all times, and that it's a lot. It takes a lot to look at yourself in a raw way and be like, and say, I did that and I made that mistake, and this is it, and blaming nobody's not going to help. That's being brave for yourself and choosing you. Being and fucking what anyone else thinks. You just want to, you don't want to hurt anymore in that way. And so you're like, I need to be this way. And it's not working that way. So we got to do it this way. There's like, there's only so much that one can take before it's just insanity. You're literally doing the same, we are constantly in a constant state of change. And so we have to embrace change. We always do. We do. We can't get comfortable and familiar with shit, because it's just not the way it goes. That's just not the way life works. It's nice to have security, and it is nice to feel comfortable. It is. But familiarity is just a trap. And there's that thin line again. That's what I mean. And there's no good or bad. There's no judging things based on a moral good or bad. It's good, it's bad. That's all bullshit too. Okay? Like, it doesn't help. And so it shouldn't be applied. I don't even apply it. It doesn't work. I really don't apply it. And I never did. That's what I was always like that. I didn't apply things that shouldn't be applied, that I was like, why? That doesn't make sense, that it's only hurting. That's not helping. I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't even have to tell people about it. I'm just not going to do it, because I know that, and plus, the more I tried to tell people, the more they wouldn't hear me anyway. Like, and that's what ego is just a lower vibration, that lower entities and energies can come through as a frequency and be able to come through. And we don't know. The last Gorgon melded into our minds. Helen Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine. The first one was Medusa. Percy Scott, won that one. The second one was unnamed. See, and most heroes are though. Most heroes don't give a shit about being known. They just do what they do because it's the right thing to do, and no one. And it's a moral obligation in a good way because, like I said, it's something that you can see, and if you can see it in that way when others can't, then you become morally obligated to do the right thing for other people. You know what I mean? Like you can't like it's not like Diesel in the Matrix, okay? You can't go like he still had issues, like you can't do that. You can't go back in. You can't unsee when you've seen. Like that's one of my mottos is, I can't unsee what I've seen. It just doesn't work that way. You can't unsee what you've seen. It's even if you want to, you can't. It's true. Anyway, yeah. So there's some more insights on that whole idea. Yeah.